Hello, this is Kelly Jennings with Apex Nutrition, and I'm here today to introduce you to something that has become a very cool and exciting part of my own life that has made a big difference in my life as an athlete, as a professional, and even as a mom with my family. Something that has become important enough that I wanted to dedicate an entire portion of my site to this new area. And these are essential oils. But before I lose you, because I know how a lot of you probably feel, it's the same way I felt for a long time, that this seemed like a bunch of expensive hoopla, snake oil, garbage. And if you're like me, one of the reasons I felt like that is I just kept seeing in my Facebook feed, on emails and blogs, just all these little talking points and like snippets of use this oil for this, use that for this does this cures that. Essential oils cure everything. And it just got to be a little bit too much. And I see this all the time in nutrition as well. Claims by a lot of times that are little more than marketing, telling us that this food is going to cure this, or that this food or supplement is going to make you run faster, jump higher, go longer, all those things. So I'm always leery of these sort of claims, especially when there's just not much behind them backing up the claim with science or with discussion. So if you know me, or you've listened to me or watched the videos, read my posts, you know that I tend to be long-winded. And a lot of that is just this desire to teach why. So that when you're picking out a food, you know why I recommend what I recommend, not just that I recommend a certain brand. And that is the whole goal for me, always has been, that I constantly work myself out of a job because there's plenty of people out there that could use nutrition help. So I don't need for people to never be able to leave and go on their own, because I want my clients and the people who read my stuff to definitely know why and to feel confident and to make healthy food choices and to teach their kids as well, as athletes, as people, as parents, as whatever. So let me tell you that this seemed like snake oil to me. What happened in my journey was that at the same time as I was reading all this, not online but in person, I had a friend who had really gotten into essential oils, and she had seen just remarkable things with these high quality oils that she had chosen to help with a bunch of different respiratory and health issues in her own kid. She has 3 small kids as well. And so she had given me, knowing that I'm an athlete and I was going to go on an upcoming big ride, she had given me these samples of a product called doTERRA Deep Blue Rub. And what this big ride was, it was in the spring. We like to go ride White Rim outside of Moab, Utah. And we like to ride it in a day. So all in one push. It's a little over 100 miles. And it's most like Jeep Road, but it is tough. There's quite a bit of climbing. And for us, living in Colorado and dedicating ourselves to mostly skiing in the winter and kind of not getting on our bikes until later in the spring, just so we don't get burned out or over fatigued, this was tough because we were going in May. And we don't even really get on our bikes until April. So to do a century, off-road century at that point, I knew I was going to be hurting. And to make it even harder, it was just me and my husband, and we can sometimes push each other. And so we were wanting to go, not kill ourselves, but go fast. I really, in my head, wanted a sub 9-hour time. So we set out. We had great weather. I hadn't been on my bike much at all this spring. We had great weather, great conditions, and we went out hard, and it turns out that by 15 seconds I got my sub 9 hour, and I was very excited to see that, but I didn't know it until, I got back to camp. We'd camped outside of the area where you go down into these canyons. And for anyone who's familiar with the area or this ride, what happens is first you drop down into the canyon, and then you do kind of these ups and downs over these little passes all along the way. But in order to get out, of course, you have to climb back out. And the direction we do it, we're faced with what's called the Schaefer switchbacks at the end, and it's over 1,000 feet of elevation gained right in front of you. You can see the whole thing. You're at mile like 95, so you're just kind of toasted. You can see this thing, and you've got to get yourself out, right? So you go up. The hardest part for me, though, is after you get up, you have to get back to your camp. So you've got several road miles left. I'm on a mountain bike, so it's not, my light, fast road bike out there. I'm on my mountain bike. I've got over 100 miles, and my legs are just dying, not to mention I can no longer sit in my saddle. So then I'm making myself stand on these legs that are just dying. So I've made this story long by now. Get back to camp. And I know some of you have been there before, where my legs were so thrashed that I could neither really sit or stand, because if I sat, they were like seizing up. I could see the muscles, seizing up, and if I stood, they didn't want to support my weight. So I grabbed these samples, this snake oil, and I rubbed it on my legs, and it was remarkable. Within 15-20 minutes, my legs I wasn't like ready to go ride it again, but my leg, I could stand, I could walk while it's feeling better. You know, this is at camp, so this is not a hot shower. This is nothing else I did. Rubbed them on there, continued to do so for the next couple days. And 72 hours later, after we'd returned home, I PR'd on a road climb near me, which was just, I couldn't even believe it when I saw the time and how I felt. So kind of something that it got me thinking. It was beyond pain relief. It helped with my recovery. I had no doubt in my mind. You know, I've been around this stuff a lot. I've done lots of different things to aid in recovery, and I know when things are working in me and I know when they're not. And this definitely worked. And what that did was it opened the door for me to really want to understand how these plant oils, how these compounds might actually work in my body, what they were doing beyond pain relief. And that's kind of the journey I wanted to take you on with me. So I'm doing 3 videos in this short series. That's my introduction, that I thought they were snake oils too. And if you're there, hopefully you'll stick with me. In the second video, I want to tell you a little bit of the science. I will leave the hard science to links that I will give you that will show you the research and the studies and the PhDs talking about it. But for me, I will give you the basics of the science. And then in my third video, I will tell you how athletes can use essential oils. So I hope you stick with me. Thank you very much.